Hey everyone, it's Andy Kushner with the Wedding Biz. So a couple weeks ago, I came back from my month off in Hawaii, and I'm still trying to get back into the swing of things, and it's difficult. And yeah, I know, who am I to complain? It's funny, so many people are telling me how lucky I am to be able to travel like that, and they wish that they could do it too, but I'm telling you, it's not luck. I didn't start taking these lengthy trips until I hit my 50s, and I really worked at setting up my lifestyle such that I can do it this way. And when I travel on these trips, I meet other travelers who are not necessarily retired, but who have also figured it out. They've set up their lives in a manner that allows them to get away like this. And it certainly wasn't overnight for myself nor the friends I meet. It starts with first letting yourself have the desire and believing that it's possible. That's the key to manifesting any sort of personal or business dream, to believe that it's possible, and then to explore the ways in which you can make it happen, whatever your dream is. So I encourage you to take time to sit in a quiet place and just open yourself up to possibility. And that alone is a great first step. Well, an example of someone who dreamed big and built a tremendous business was last week's guest, a new conversation with Alex LaRue of ALR Music out of London and working worldwide. And another person who manifests their dreams is a returning guest, today's guest, Simon T. Bailey. The leading expert in brilliance, Simon has been recognized among Success Magazine's top 25 alongside Brené Brown, Tony Robbins, and Oprah, as well as Leaders Hum Top 200 Power List in 2023 and Gotham Artist Top Keynote Speakers in 2024. With the Disney Institute as his launchpad, he's left an indelible mark on over 2,400 organizations in 54 countries, including American Express, Deloitte, Marriott, and Visa. Through books, speeches, and coaching, Simon captivates the lives of countless individuals around the globe, inspiring them to lead better, stay curious, and embrace a growth mindset. Simon has been on this show 2 times before, and you can listen to my first interview of him, episode number 391. And today, we discuss his latest book, Resilience at Work. Enjoy this new conversation with Simon T. Bailey. Hey, Simon, good to have you back on the show again. It's been a while since we last did this, so welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good to be back.
Yeah, so Simon, I want to start right off by asking you, why did you feel the need to write this book about resilience and specifically in our businesses? You know, what compelled you to choose that topic?
Well, as I looked around the world and talked to business owners, what I realized, it's one thing to bounce back, but it's another thing to bounce back better. So I wanted to equip business owners with tips, tools, and techniques on how to do it consistently.
Obviously, that's really important. I want to bring up also the metaphor that you brought up in the beginning of your book of surfing, which I thought was such a perfect way to outline the purpose of this book. Can you tell the listeners about this?
So I was in California, Solana Beach, and I was walking on the beach and I saw some surfers coming towards the water. And I ran up to them and I said, "What is the key to surfing?" And the guy said, "The moment you hit a wave, you got to pop back up. Because if you don't pop back up, you'll experience the wipeout and you'll never get the footing again." And when he said it, I was like, oh my goodness, that's life. That's business. You got to pop back up. So I wanted to give a metaphor that's universal. Everybody can relate to surfing, whether they're a surfer or not, but people surf every day. They surf online. They're looking for something. They get back up again. So I wanted to help anchor the reader in saying, you know what? The waves will come, but how do I get back on the board and catch the next wave?
Yeah, I love that. And you define resilience as the capacity to endure and recover quickly from setbacks, and that which goes kind of with your metaphor of immediately getting back up, but the capacity to endure, and recover quickly. I'm going to add that setbacks are also inevitable and constant, and especially if we're taking risks. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. If you don't experience failure, you don't get the feedback as to how to do it differently. And so, number one, when you think about endurance, what did I learn? What did I just experience? Number two, how do I be intentional in my actions and my relationships the next time around? And then number three, how do I look at what went right? And instead of beating myself up on what went wrong, because sometimes what went wrong and failure and taking risk, that becomes the bigger story than the opportunity to get up and try again.
Yeah, I'm thinking about my own life, and experience, not just personally, but in business, but really all of it. And it's like if you don't look at it that way, the way that you're defining it, then I'm going to be safe, right? I'm just going to be safe. I'm not going to go for it. I'm not going to grow as much. I'm not going to evolve as much. It just seems that it comes with the territory if we want to keep growing, not only in our personal lives, but in our businesses too.
I totally can relate. In 21 years of being an entrepreneur, I have had probably more failures than I can count on one hand. But what I've decided to do is, you know what? I'm going to continue to take the risk for who I become in the process.
Huh. Can you say more about that? I mean, taking the risks for who you become in the process. What do you mean by that?
I'll give you a prime example. I have made the single largest investment in our business in 20 years than I've ever done before. We've decided to invest in proprietary research. And we hired a firm to go out and do a study to basically kind of prove out what we've been teaching. Well, as you can imagine, significant investment, and there's been a lot of stretching, a lot of, oh my goodness, we've never done this before. And the what if this doesn't work? Or better yet, what if it does work? What else are we missing? And so we've kind of jumped in on the deep end. And I can tell you now, we are 95% through the research, done with the process, getting ready to get the white paper, the executive summary, the infographic. And I am so proud that we said yes instead of saying no, because it's so easy to say no. But I'm glad we said yes because it stretched us. And now we're thinking beyond.
Geez, I love that. Related to all of this, there's a quote that from the book that I want to bring up and dig in a little bit more. The quote is, "Resilient individuals wake up every day with a burning desire to make a difference and proactively seek opportunities to excel. Resilience is a superpower that reduces stress, boosts psychological capital, and paves the way for greater productivity." So, Simon, it sounds like we should not only embrace the waves that come into our lives and businesses, but view them as an opportunity for growth, like we're both talking about.
Absolutely. So here's the research. According to Emory University, when you are on the journey to resilience and you intentionally help someone else, the reward centers in our brain begin to light up almost as if we are on the receiving end of the person we just helped. And guess what they call it? They call it the helper's high. So in my journey to wake up every single day, in everyone's journey to make a difference, add value, grow, when I intentionally give someone a hand up, not just a hand out, I'm actually helping myself become more resilient, reducing my stress, because it's not just about me, it's about we, and I'm contributing to the universe.
Geez, I love that. We're talking also obviously about being of service, and that seems to be a big part of this as well, the way you're talking about it now.
Yes, absolutely.
There's another quote, Simon, I want to bring up. You say, ultimately, resilient companies increase productivity, passion, and putting purpose before profit, thus becoming even more profitable. Can you say more about that?
So what I've discovered in companies who have drilled down on well-being, self-care, ensuring that employees feel cared for, what they have discovered is leaders have had to start with themselves. So leaders or business owners have said, how do I show up every single day to create a positive experience for my team members? Once those team members know that the owner, the leader, cares about them as a human being, not just a human doing, then that person transfers that experience to the customer. So in other words, the customer benefits from a team member who works in an environment where they are celebrated rather than tolerated, where the leadership practices eco instead of ego. Ego is edging greatness out. Ego is engaging, caring often. So when I care about you, I say, how are you doing? How's it going? And all of a sudden, I feel seen, valued, and understood in that moment because you asked me how I was doing. Now I carry that forward to the team and to those that I serve.
Yeah. Bringing everybody together, it's another way to motivate people, make it clear that you care. And also I'm assuming too is look, we at the top, at the top of the chain, the company got to pass down this. Also, I want to get back to the whole concept of resilience, right? Our employees, our contractors need to also be able to deal with that and how they can use it. Embrace it, turn it into an opportunity. It seems that that's also important, is to educate our company about this whole concept.
Yes, the moment you educate your company about here's the culture that allows people to be resilient. First thing is, what's the environment? How are we communicating? How are we ensuring that everybody is in a mentally good space? Number two, how do we communicate consistently and effectively in the way people need to receive it? So do we pick up the phone? Do we get on Zoom? Do we talk by phone? How do we ensure that we're connecting those dots, especially in this virtual world that we're living in when we're not face to face in business? And then third, how do we ensure we tell people what they are doing right instead of what they're doing wrong? And we communicate, here's what's right about the decision, the choice, the outcome. Now, all of a sudden, people begin to grasp this is a caring culture who just doesn't have nice words on a website. They actually live it every single day.
It's important for me to hear this right now at this moment, be reminded. Last night, Sam and I have a band business, and it's going really well. We're very successful. All the bands are doing well, getting booked a lot. However, I am always looking at what can we do to take it to the next level. And so last night, one of the bands had a corporate event, and I was, again, I want to preface it by saying, they do extremely well. They're quote unquote successful, get a lot of parties and engagement from the crowd. But I did see in my opinion, some really basic foundational aspects of their performance that really need some improvement. And I was frustrated. I was, they didn't see me doing this, but I was taking notes, and I just kept getting more and more frustrated. I personally kind of got stuck going down the rabbit hole of just focusing on what the issues were. And it wasn't really toward the end. I was so frustrated. I was thinking, oh, what am I going to do? There's so much, in order to take it to the next level, there's so much. And then I started to realize, hold on a minute. There were some great things that they were doing, and I got stuck again, kind of going down the rabbit hole of the negative aspects versus the positives. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be meeting with them, and how am I going to present all of this? And right now you're helping to remind me, I got to really first frame the positive aspect about what they did, because they are human and they really do care, So I think we all need this reminder on how to frame that kind of a situation with people who work with us.
I believe when you focus on what went well, it causes individuals to spiral up instead of spiraling down. Now, nothing is perfect in business. There's always places for opportunity to learn and grow, but it's all in the tone and how the message is delivered.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've been asked where I gained the inspiration and expertise to host this show, The Wedding Biz, and it all comes from my own experience in the weddings and event industry of creating world-class entertainment to support our custom entertainment design. Kushner Entertainment features outrageously dynamic bands, strings, and a host of other entertainment acts that have won numerous international, national, and local to the Washington, D.C. area awards. Not only for individual acts, such as the band Sound Connection, but also for our highly engaging and captivating entertainment design concepts. Go to KushnerEntertainment.com to learn more about the ultimate in event entertainment. That's KushnerEntertainment.com. I want to talk to, and kind of what comes out of what we're saying, it kind of starts to lead to this. I love how you created these characters in the book: hurry, worry, ready, and steady. And then the periodic list of insights learned, from each of the previous sections of the book. I love how you do that. You summarize each section. And three of my favorite insights that you write about are that we're not responsible for anyone else's reaction, and we're responsible for creating our own boundaries and reframing change as a friend. Can you say more about that? In particular, that jumped out to me.
So there's a Yiddish proverb that says the only person that likes change is a wet baby. Okay.
Huh. Yeah.
So most people don't like change. They don't like change. So, but change is a part of growth, is what you experience in life and business. So when I talk about creating that boundary around something happen, you can react, just don't overreact, and be open to the feedback from another. What did you hear me say? Because people don't hear what you say, they hear what they thought you said. So you have to clarify and say, here's what I said. Does that land? Or if someone is saying something to you, hey, can we double click on that? Let's drop a pin. Tell me more. Because it's in the tell me more where now we're moving from communication to connection to understanding. So it's really taken time to step back and say, okay, just said this, did it connect?
Yes, that's that's the follow through. It's interesting when I feel like that's kind of a challenge I face sometimes is that, did it really connect with the person I'm speaking to? I want to ask you, what are some of the biggest waves that you've had to embrace and surf through? I would love to hear about that.
Well, number one, I've had to focus on my mental health. I've been in therapy on and off for probably about the last 7 years. And what I realized whenever I hit a spot and I go and talk to my therapist, I am given some coping tools through questions and specific things that I can do to ensure that I stay mentally sound. That's number one. Number two, I have also found a new, what I would call board of directors who help me think about business and put things in perspective for me. Their companies are really successful. They're not in my industry, but they give me a different perspective because of the questions that I ask them and their feedback. Because you know how the old saying is, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So this ability to just get another perspective, absolutely significant. I think the third thing is I recently went back to school and to get an executive MBA, a 1-year accelerated program. Who in the world goes back to school after 50? Totally crazy. But what I recognized is in 20 years, in the words of Marshall Goldsmith, what got me here won't get me there. So this ability to constantly learn and unlearn builds resilience long term. So I've had to catch the waves of saying, okay, I gotta stay on the cutting edge. I gotta continue to learn and then bring that back to my team so that they can grow as well.
Other than what you just mentioned, what are some other practical techniques for building resilience as a skill? It's like a muscle, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. The first thing is reflect. At the end of every day, answer the following questions. How did I grow? How did I add value? What difference did I make? And then what am I going to do better tomorrow? Write it down. You can also, if you want to capture it on your phone, there's an app called Day One. Disclaimer, I have no affiliation with them, but it's an app I've been using for 5 years. And it's a journaling app where you just capture and you can embed media. The power of reflecting allows you to process. This is where I started the day. How did I end the day? Number one. Number two, take your meds. Meditate, exercise, diet, and sleep. That's the acronym. Take your meds. Meditate, exercise, diet, and sleep. Let me drop a pin in meditate. How you start the day determines the day. So I'm a stickler that between the hours of 4 a.m. and 7 a.m., I'm taking my meds. I'm meditating, I'm exercising, and I'm thinking about what am I going to eat that day to ensure that I'm going to have a healthy day. And obviously, looking to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep by the time my head hits the pillow. The third thing to think about, and this is a little crazy, but is there one person that you can write a handwritten note, send a text, a video, or even a phone call that simply says, thank you, I appreciate you, we're doing good work, thank you for the introduction, whatever that might be. What would it be like every single day to do that? Now, you're probably saying, how does that build the resilience muscle? What it does, when I am helping someone else, I'm taking the spotlight off of myself just to help someone else by extending kindness. What that does, that builds you up from the inside out to say, you know what? If I put good out into the world, it will come back to me.
God, I love what you're saying. First I want to go back for a moment and say that I'm a real advocate for therapy. I had done a ton of it and really recommend that everybody at any age try it. So I love that you're talking about that. And then also your last point. We're talking about also, feeling gratitude, and what a wonderful way to build that into each day of your life. I love that idea. I'm going to think about that myself. I think that's great. Also, Simon, there's one more topic I want to talk about, which is worry or anxiety, which you address in the book, which is really, as you talk about, it's mostly fear of something bad happening in the future. How would you reframe worry or anxiety? Because I think we all deal with that. It's something that keeps us all from going further. And also, it's hard to build resilience if we're constantly worrying or feel anxious.
Yeah, sometimes worry causes us to exist with this onus of waiting for the other shoe to drop. So if we reframe it, I want us to first start with creating a picture in our head of the happiest, most successful time we've had in business or life. And you're probably saying, why? Because you want to create a pattern interruption into whatever the thought, the movie, that might be playing. So the moment you begin to see, oh, this went well, and how did it feel? What did you say? What did you do in that moment? And we're just talking a minute or less. What it allows you to do is to snap out of going down the vortex of worry, oh my goodness, to now spiral up to say, that was a happy moment. That was an amazing moment. And what you are doing is you're taking control and you're telling the backseat passenger of worry to get off at the next exit, because you've now got to focus on, you know what? I'm going to focus on what I can do instead of what I can't do. I'm going to control the controllables, and that is my thoughts.
God, I love how you talk about spiraling up. I've noticed you've said that a couple times as opposed to spiraling down. I love that because I get a visual when you say that, and it helps me to reframe it myself differently, that I'm, spiraling up as opposed to I just got to always be right there. You have to kind of work your way up to it. It's a muscle, isn't it? All of what you're talking about in the book is developing a muscle.
It is.
Yeah. Well, gosh, Simon, thank you for doing this again. I want to, again, remind everyone the name of the book. It's Resilience at Work, How to Coach Yourself into a Thriving Future. I just appreciate you coming on again so much. Every time we talk, you're just so positive, and I always feel so good after speaking to you, Simon. I love what you're doing. So thank you for writing and giving us this opportunity to learn more about resilience. It's something that I know I can use more work on, and I'm sure everybody can. So thanks.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the amazing difference you're making in the world with your podcast.
Thanks, Simon. Thank you for listening to my conversation with Simon T. Bailey. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't keep it to yourself. Tell a friend, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Wedding Biz. You can check out Simon's site, which is simontbailey.com. And next week's guest is going to be makeup artist Kelsey Bain. I also want to remind you, I love hearing from you, what you think of the show, who you would like to hear me interview, just anything you want to say, DM me on Instagram at The Wedding Biz, and we'll catch you next week.